So say I give you an equation that looks like this. So we got square root of x plus 1 on one side, and then square root of x plus 2 minus 1 on one side. Originally, the first thing we should do is to move around terms by adding and subtracting to each side so we can get everything under the radical on one side and everything outside of the radical on the other. But since there are two radicals, then this isn't really going to help us in this case. So the first thing we should do is to square both sides. Now on the left, the square and the square root are going to cancel out, and the result is just going to be the radicand. So we're going to be left with x plus 1 on one side. But on the right side, this is like a binomial squared. So this is going to look like how you FOIL. So we're going to get square root of x plus 2 minus 1, square root of x plus 2 minus 1. Again, I'm just recalling the definition of squaring something, which is you just multiply it by itself. And from here we use FOIL. So let's do that on this line down here. So the first term is going to be square root of x plus 2 squared. The outer term is going to be minus square root of x plus 2. The inner term is going to be minus square root of x plus 2. And then the last term is going to be negative 1 times negative 1, which is plus 1. So simplifying further, we're going to leave the left side of the equation alone. The first term, square root of x plus 2 squared, is just going to become x plus 2, just like it did at the very beginning. These two terms are like terms, so when they combine, you're going to get minus 2 times square root of x plus 2. And then we have a plus 1 back here. So simplifying further, we're just going to add that 2 and 1 and make it another line. So we get x plus 1 is equal to x plus 3 minus 2 times square root of x plus 2. Now, the fact that we still have a square root of x plus 2 means we're going to have to square again at some point. But for now, let's see if we can cancel out anything. So if we subtract an x from each side of the equation, those x's both cancel out. And now, what I want to do is I want to move everything that's not part of this 2 times square root of x plus 2 to the other side. So if we subtract a 3 from both sides of the equation, this simplifies to negative 2 is equal to minus 2 times square root of x plus 2. Now I know you probably would be inclined, but it isn't. You can't. Firstly, you can't add a 2 to both sides of the equation to get rid of this negative 2. What you'd have to do is divide. So in fact, if you divide both sides of the equation by square root of negative 2, then on the left side, this just simplifies to 1, and on the right side, these two cancel out, so we're left with just square root of x plus 2. So now we do what we've done before, and we square this both sides of the equation again. So on the left, 1 squared is just 1, and then square root of x plus 2 squared is just going to give us the radicand. And finally, solving for x, we subtract 2 from each side, so x is equal to negative 1. So now we have our solution, but since we ended up squaring both sides of the equation, not just even once, in fact we did it twice, we need to check to make sure that x is equal to negative 1 is actually a solution. So the way to do that is to plug in x is equal to negative 1 into the original equation. So the original equation was x plus 1 is equal, square root of x plus 1 is equal to square root of x plus 2 minus 1. So let's do that. So we want to write square root of negative 1 plus 1, and we want to check, so we want to put a question mark over that equal sign, is equal to square root of negative 1 plus 2 minus 1. So negative 1 plus 1, that's going to give us square root of 0. And we want to check to see if that's equal to square root of negative 1 plus 2, which is 1 minus 1. Square root of 0 is equal to 0. We want to check if that's equal to 1 minus 1. And as it turns out, on the right side we get 0, and on the left side we get 0. So x equals to negative 1 is a solution to the equation. So the solution is x is equal to negative 1.